9. The constitutional principality. But now we come to the other case, where a private citizen becomes the ruler of his country, neither by crime, nor by any other outrageous act of violence, but by the favor of his fellow citizens. And this we can call a constitutional principality, to become the ruler of which one needs neither prowess alone, nor fortune, but rather a lucky astuteness. I say that one becomes a prince in this case, with the favor of the people, or of the nobles. These two different dispositions are found in every city, and the people are everywhere anxious not to be dominated or oppressed by the nobles, and the nobles are out to dominate and oppress the people. These opposed ambitions bring about one of three results: a principality, a free city, or anarchy. A principality is created either by the people or by the nobles, according to whether the one or the other of these two classes is given the opportunity. What happens is that when the nobles see they cannot withstand the people, they start to increase the standing of one of their own numbers, and they make him prince in order to be able to achieve their own ends under his cloak. The people, in the same way, when they see they cannot withstand the nobles, increase the standing of one of themselves, and make him a prince in order to be protected by his authority. A man who becomes prince with the help of the nobles finds it more difficult to maintain his position than one who does so with the help of the people. As prince, he finds himself surrounded by many who believe they are his equals, and because of that, he cannot command or manage them the way he wants. A man who becomes prince by the favor of the people finds himself standing alone, and he has near him either no one or very few not prepared to take orders. In addition, it is impossible to satisfy the nobles honorably without doing violence to the interests of others, but this can be done as far as the people are concerned. The people are more honest in their intentions than the nobles are, because the latter want to oppress people, whereas they want only not to be oppressed. Moreover, a prince can never make himself safe against a hostile people. There are too many of them. He can make himself safe against the nobles, who are few. The worst that can happen to a prince when the people are hostile is for him to be deserted. But from the nobles, if hostile, he has to fear not only desertion, but even active opposition. The nobles have more foresight and are more astute. They always act in time to safeguard their interests, and they take sides with the one whom they expect to win. Again, a prince must always live with the same people, but he can well do without the nobles, since he can make and unmake them every day, increasing and lowering their standing at will. To clarify the discussion further, I say that there are two main considerations to be remembered in regard to the nobles. Either they conduct themselves in such a way that they come to depend entirely on your fortunes, or they do not. Those who become dependent and are not rapacious must be honored and loved. Those who remain independent of you do so for two different reasons. They may do so because they are pusillanimous and naturally lacking in spirit. If so, you should make use of them, especially those who are capable of giving sensible advice, since they will respect you when you are doing well, and you will have nothing to fear from them in times of adversity. But when they deliberately and for reasons of ambition remain independent of you, it is a sign that they are more concerned about themselves than about you. Against nobles such as these, a prince must safeguard himself, fearing them as if they were his declared enemies, because in times of adversity they will always help to ruin him. A man who is made a prince by favor of the people must work to retain their friendship, and this is easy for him because the people ask only not to be oppressed. But a man who has become a prince against the will of the people, and by favor of the nobles, should, Before anything else, try to win the people over. This is too easy if he takes them under his protection. When men receive favors from someone they expected to do them ill, they are under a greater obligation to their benefactor. Just so, the people can in an instant become more amicably disposed towards the prince than if he had seized power by their favor. And there are many ways in which a prince can win them over. These can vary according to circumstances, so no definite rule can be given, and I shall not deal with them here. I shall only conclude that it is necessary for a prince to have the friendship of the people, otherwise he has no remedy in times of adversity. Nabis, prince of the Spartans, withstood the whole of Greece and a triumphant Roman army, and successfully defended his country and his own authority against them. All he had to do when danger threatened was to take steps against a few of his subjects, but this would not have been enough had the people been hostile to him. Let no one contradict this opinion of mine with that trite proverb that he who builds on the people builds on mud. That may be so when a private citizen bases his power on the people and takes it for granted that the people will rescue him if he is in danger from enemies or from the magistrates. In this case, he could often find he had made a mistake, as happened with the Gracchi in Rome and Messer Giorgio Scali in Florence. But if it is a prince who builds his power on the people, one who can command and is a man of courage, who does not despair in adversity, who does not fail to take precautions, and who wins general allegiance by his personal qualities and the institutions he establishes, he will never be let down by the people, and he will be found to have established his power securely. Principalities usually come to grief when the transition is being made from limited power to absolutism. Princes taking this step rule either directly or through magistrates. In the latter case, their position is weaker and more dangerous, because they rely entirely on the will of those citizens who have been put in office, and these, especially in times of adversity, can very easily depose them, either by positive action against them or by not obeying them. And when danger comes, the prince has no time to seize absolute authority, because the citizens and subjects, accustomed to taking orders from the magistrates, will not take them from him in a crisis. In disturbed times, also, men whom the prince can trust will be hard to find. So such a prince cannot rely on what he has experienced in times of tranquility, when the citizens have need of his government. When things are quiet, everyone dances attendance, everyone makes promises, and everybody would die for him, so long as death is far off. But in times of adversity, when the state has need of its citizens, there are few to be found, and this test of loyalty is all the more dangerous, since it can be made only once. Therefore, a wise prince must devise ways by which his citizens are always and in all circumstances dependent on him and on his authority, and then they will always be faithful to him.